You've heard Wendy mention what the other localities are doing. You've heard Jared explain about the mask situation. Certainly not going to confront anybody, but we'll post on the door that masks are required inside the building per the governor's order. We have the petition in place to help protect Wendy, and I think that is a positive thing. So having said all of that, and with her comfort level, do I have a motion from council to authorize opening town hall for the conduct of business in person on June 10th of 2020?
I'll make that motion.
Motion been made by Councilperson Hall. Wait a minute. To open the town hall for the normal conduct of business in person on June 10th, 2020. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilperson Vice Mayor Richard Erskine. I believe we have some other comment or questions before I call for the vote.
Posted on that sign where mask is required for business only.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the only thing you had?
Yeah. You know, I just want to make sure that it's posted that way. And that way, if there's any discussion with whoever, then you'll have a leg to stand on and tell them that for business only.
You okay to amend your motion to say that, Donnie?
Yes, I am.
All right, motion's been made.
I also think that it should be stated on there that, you know, if you are sick, do not come in.
Well,
If you're exhibiting symptoms.
I think probably what we would use, Jared, unless you tell us we can't, is the sign that the chamber put out with the big stop sign on it and had everything listed on there. That would be sufficient with the addition of for the conduction of business only, right? Jared?
What's the other localities though?
They're opening up on June 10th.
Okay.
Opening up on June 10th with the requirement that everybody wear masks upon entering the building. Obviously, you're not going to get in a situation where you're confronting people about their condition or their situation, but just hope that everybody would adhere to that. Did y'all hear me on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you.
Motion's been made and seconded to open town hall for the conducting of business on June 10th, 2020, with the restrictions of everyone required to wear a mask when they enter the building. It is for the conducting of business only, and so long as they meet the guidelines as posted on the sign upon entering. Is that the way it's worded, Donnie?
Yeah.
Roll call vote. Mr. Unruh?
No.
No. Miss Nicely?
Question, does that mean we will continue to start having meetings back at town hall?
We're going to have another motion on that in a minute.
Okay, then yes.
Yes? Richard?
Yes.
Donnie?
Yes. Yes.
Kawana?
Yes.
Wendy, it looks like you're opening back up on June the 10th.
All right.
All right? How about the playground in River Park? The way it stands right now, the motion that council voted on last month was to keep those parks closed until the state of emergency has been lifted. If you decide that you want to leave it that way, you don't have to do anything tonight. If you want to change that to open them before that happens, we have to have a motion and take a vote on it tonight. What's everybody's feelings on that?
Why don't we just do the same like we're doing with town hall?
The thing you run into on opening the playground is you have to be able to sanitize that equipment pretty regularly. And, you know, then you run into the situation of whether you have bathrooms open or not. You know, and at the very least, if you open the River Park early, I think you would have to rope off and keep the picnic shelter closed.
Excuse me, Chuck.
Yes.
Pam, I can't hear the 4 people that are voting. What did they vote on the opening of town hall? The 4 that are not on Zoom.
All right, all 4 voted yes to open up town hall on the 10th.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I should have said that. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Ashley?
Yes.
Okay. So, what do y'all want to do? You want to leave it like it is?
Leave
Okay.
it.
All right, so I don't think we need a vote on that, so.
Well, you probably ought to ask them all if they want to leave it or...
Well, let's just, since we can record it and everybody can hear it, since not everybody's here, do I have a motion to continue to maintain the river park and playground closed until the local state of emergency is lifted?
I'll make that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made by Councilperson Vice Mayor Richard Erskine. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilperson Nicely by a wave of her hand. Mr. Unruh,
Yeah.
Ms. Nicely,
Yes.
Mr. Erskine.
Yeah.
Richard voted yes, Pam. Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Donnie voted yes, Pam.
Yes.
Jenny Mays voted yes.
Yes, sir.
And Kawana voted yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The town crew responding to after-hours calls. We've had discussion on this. I think that the general consensus is that there should be some type of a fee along with reimbursement of their hours for non-emergency calls. Anybody that wants to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion that we set a $25 fee plus the employees' wages for how long we're out.
To be assessed to the caller.
Right.
And
And they would fill out a
After-hours work order.
after-hours work form so we would know what went on.
All right. The motion's been made that if a town crew is called out on what is determined to be a non-emergency call, that the person calling would be assessed a $25 service fee plus the hourly wage paid to the employee that was called out, and that the employee would be required to complete an after-hours work order and submit it to the town clerk the following morning. Right?
Right.
Let me get my second and then we can have discussion, okay? Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second's been made by Councilperson Persinger. Yes, sir, Mr. Hall.
But after hours, that they should be paid a time and a half.
Oh, they are?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's for our rate.
Yeah, they are. We pay them at least that, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So the motion's been made and seconded. We'll do a roll call. Any further discussion before I call for the vote? Mr. Unruh,
Yeah.
Ms. Nicely. She voted yes. Mr. Erskine.
Yes.
Richard voted yes, Pam. Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Hall voted yes. Mr. Mays.
Yes.
Mr. Mays voted yes. Ms. Persinger.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Persinger voted yes. Jared, will you work with Wendy on how to set that up?
Sure.
Wendy, you'll help him with that. The schoolhouse project, we've heard a lot of discussion on that tonight, a lot of input from 2 of the firms that have been investigating that for us. The next step would be for us to enter into an active negotiation stage with Mr. Harris, who's the current owner of the building. I would request that if council's decision is to enter into that next phase, that council will also appoint someone to accompany me on those negotiations, because I'd like to have somebody with me at all times to be able to hear what's being said, what's being done. Two sets of ears and eyes are better than one. So, do I have a motion to proceed and enter into an active negotiation period of possible procurement and negotiating purchase price of the schoolhouse from Mr. William Harris, the current owner? And if so, who would be appointed to accompany me on that negotiation?
I'll make that motion, and I think the town clerk should go, because she is very well versed on the budget, what money's coming in, what money's going out.
Motion's been made that we should proceed into an active negotiation, negotiating purchase price for the old schoolhouse property, and that I should be accompanied by Town Clerk Wendy Biggs during that negotiation. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second it.
Motion's been seconded by Vice Mayor Councilperson Richard Erskine. Next question I have is, Wendy, are you willing to accept that responsibility?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Wendy has said she is willing to accept that responsibility. Do I have any other comments, questions, or concerns before I call for the vote? Anybody? Mr. Unruh?
Yeah.
Ms. Nicely?
Yes.
Mr. Erskine?
Yes.
Richard voted yes. Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hall voted yes. Mr. Mays?
Yeah.
Mr. Mays voted yes. Ms. Persinger?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Persinger voted yes. The last order of new business that I have two more. I'm going to ask for a motion to re-adopt and extend the emergency ordinance allowing this type of meeting through next month, just so we will have it in place if we need it, with the understanding that we can decide to come together as normal if that's what we feel is in our best interest. That's correct, right, Jared?
Right, I can't see any harm in recertifying that tonight.
Okay. So do I have a motion to re-adopt the emergency ordinance which allows the electronic meeting as we're having it tonight?
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made to re-adopt the emergency ordinance for electronic meetings by Councilperson Vice Mayor Richard Erskine. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilperson Hall. Mr. Unruh?
I understand the motion. You go on one more month with this meeting, type of meetings.
We're putting the emergency ordinance in place with the understanding that if things continue to improve like they are, we have the discretion of meeting in person next month on our own. But if things don't continue to improve or get bad again, we can't have an electronic meeting unless we have this ordinance in place.
Okay. Yes.
Mr. Unruh voted yes. Ms. Nicely? Yes? Ms. Nicely voted yes. Mr. Erskine?
Yes.
Mr. Erskine voted yes. Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hall voted yes. Mr. Mays?
Yes.
Mr. Mays voted yes. And Ms. Persinger?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Persinger voted yes. So the emergency ordinance to allow electronic meetings has been re-adopted. What we'll need to do then is schedule a public hearing before the council meeting in June for an additional amendment to the water and sewer ordinance, allowing a grace period if the due date falls on a holiday or weekend to the close of business the next business day. That's how we need to handle that, right, Jared?
Well, no, because the public hearings are technically required to pass the ordinance.
Okay.
we
So-
submit it, and then you would vote on the amended ordinance without another public hearing, you would vote on that at the next meeting,
All right, so then,
just as you're planning to do regardless.
all right, so then he says he wants to make an motion to amend that. So can we call for the vote for that tonight then?
To call for a vote on the amendment or call for a vote on the ordinance?
Call for a vote. He wants to, he's making a motion to add that grace period into the ordinance for the payment of utility bills. So if we make,
No question you can do that.
do what?
There's no question you can do that, and I can make that change. That's not a problem.
Okay,
Assuming
so,
everyone agrees, which,
all right,
go ahead and take the vote.
all right. So Randy, you're,
Up to y'all.
okay. Randy, your motion is, and I think I'm paraphrasing this correctly, to add a grace period for payment of utility bills if the 21st falls on a holiday or weekend. The grace period would extend to the close of business on the following business day.
Yes,
All right, you're making that an official motion.
yes.
All right, motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilperson Vice Mayor Richard Erskine. Any discussion or comment on that? Mr. Unruh,
Yes.
Ms. Nicely,
Yes.
Mr. Erskine.
Yes.
Mr. Erskine voted yes. Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Hall voted yes. Mr. Mays.
Yes.
Mr. Mays voted yes. Ms. Persinger.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Persinger voted yes. Anything else, Randy?
Ready to go home.
You already home. Anybody else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made by Vice Mayor Councilperson Richard Erskine to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilperson Hall. Mr. Unruh?
Yes.
Ms. Nicely? Mr. Erskine?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Mays? Ms. Persinger?
Yes, sir.
All voted yes. Meeting is adjourned.